I think after Disney acquired Fox, a lot of people were wondering what was next for the Fox franchise and X-Men universe. These were movies that I had grown up with since I was a kid, and I also was nervous to see what Disney would do with these characters that I'd loved so much. While some of the X-Men movies are good and some of them aren't good, Deadpool really set the precedent for how humor could be understood and told in Hollywood media, especially in the MCU. Now, when Deadpool 1 and 2 respectively came out, they weren't part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but with the release of Deadpool and Wolverine, they were introduced into the MCU, sort of brought into it retroactively. I'm sure if you've seen any MCU movie, the number one problem and gripe that a lot of people have with it, I think, is the humor. Now, humor is of course subjective to all people on all fronts, but I can agree that some movies such as Age of Ultron really do suffer from how many jokes are told constantly over and over again. It just gets to a point where you can't really take it anymore, and it just bogs down the movie. By sacrificing a serious tone for humor, you are unable to accept the characters, you're unable to bond with them, and that is where Deadpool and Wolverine succeeds where other MCU movies aren't able to. By having humor at the front of the story instead of part of the story, you're able to continue to grow your characters as humor is the character. But of course, with humor comes the quality of the humor. The jokes in Deadpool and Wolverine, while some can be a little over the top and gratuitous, are still mostly S-tier jokes from my perspective. I think that a lot of people do agree that the first Deadpool movie is good but not perfect, along with the second Deadpool movie, but the third one, I would say, is the absolute best Deadpool movie, let alone X-Men movie, we've ever had. But of course, you didn't come here to listen to me glaze the third Deadpool movie. You came to listen to me talk about why it is a genius in cinematic humor, how it tells its jokes, how it prepares the viewer, how it continues to tell an engrossing, intriguing story while still being constantly funny over and over and over again. Ryan Reynolds' performance as Deadpool is one of the most legendary castings for a character we've ever had in cinema. His quipping is on par, maybe even better than Spider-Man's, both in movies and comics. While Deadpool can be cast a little weird when it comes to video games and other shows, when I close my eyes, I think of Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool. When I read a comic page, when I read those lines, it's Ryan Reynolds' voice in my head as Deadpool. So when you get such a stellar casting that not only brings Deadpool to life, but personifies him to such an intriguing level with comedy, with seriousness, with passion, he brings the Deadpool from the comic page to real life. That is how you do casting in Hollywood. Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. He has been playing this character for 26 years, even longer, with him returning in Doomsday. I'm interested to see how they will handle him in that movie, but in Deadpool and Wolverine, he is the perfect, serious, always non-joking character. He bounces off of Deadpool in such a unique manner that the two of them are almost like Iron Man and Doctor Strange in Infinity War with how their comedy conflicts with each other. Tony Stark is such a quippy, jokey person despite all the trauma he's been through. Doctor Strange, however, is a serious, super serious character that takes his job, his position as Sorcerer Supreme to another level. So when you mix a super jokey character with a super serious character, S-tier writing, it's genius. It's weird that you've seen it in so few movies over the years. It's almost like buddy cop in a sense, but instead of buddy cop, it's like joke and serious character. How are the actual quality of the jokes, you might be asking? Impeccable as always. Now, when I say always, I am referring to the X-Men movies and the Deadpool movies. The MCU quipping has gotten stale. I think we can all agree with that. Along with my example that I gave of Age of Ultron, just the jokiness and quipping ruining a serious tone. It really sucks to see. But in these movies, because comedy is the center point of them, you have to make sure that the jokes are written at the highest level. And, well, that's exactly what they did. Some of the jokes, yeah, they might not be made for a certain younger audience, if you know what I'm referring to. A certain Disney peg stick joke comes to mind, but other than that, man, this movie was just downright hilarious when I saw it in the theater. Everyone was just losing their mind. It really felt like Endgame, but in sort of a comedy environment instead of the celebration of what Endgame was. Lastly, I will be talking about spoilers, so if you want to avoid spoilers, click off the video now or go to the timestamp that I'm putting on the screen. Gambit in this movie, wow, I honestly, on top of being a huge X-Men fan, finally seeing accurate adaptation of the character, not the one that we saw in Origins Wolverine. What a horrible one that was, but Channing Tatum as Gambit in this movie, flawless, 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 absolute cinema with the casting department on that one. Honestly, hats off to those guys for picking Channing Tatum. The accent, deliveries, the costume, everything. It just all works so well and really goes to show that they did care about this movie. Blade and Elektra, while not super dependent on comedy, also had some really good jokes that made me chuckle a few times, along with the main TVA character. Just all around, everyone in this movie, whether they're jokey, whether they're serious, whether they're in between, like Cassandra Nova, everyone just does such a great job at really setting this movie apart from everything else in the MCU. It just goes to show, when it comes to Hollywood, when it comes to humor, when it comes to all of that, that Fox and Disney were able to put their differences aside and really give X-Men fans exactly what they wanted after all of these years. With that being said, I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Deadpool and Wolverine was just such a great movie, and I felt like I had to get a video out to celebrate it. So, yeah. Be sure to like and subscribe for more analysis of X-Men and Marvel movies. I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.